What's up, y'all? I hope that you are doing well. First off, thank you so much for clicking on this video. It means a lot that you guys just show love to the content that I create, and I do hope that you guys enjoy the video. I love reading the comments and what you guys have to say. What you guys are about to watch is actually a segment from a pod episode that we recorded. This was going to be the Patreon segment, but I decided not to put it on Patreon and to upload it as its own video. So Mr. Longbox and I were doing this segment called Sleepers and Head Scratchers. Basically, every week we would alternate. I would pick a sleeper, he would pick a head scratcher. To quickly define the terms, a sleeper is a book that is just flying under the radar, might be undervalued at the moment, kind of in that realm of just a sleeper book. And a head scratcher is a book that is maybe a little too hot, maybe a little overpriced, a book that we don't really understand the hype for. So we alternate picking one of those. We've decided to not make this a Patreon exclusive anymore. We've decided to make this a weekly video. So this is the first of that, and there will be another one next week that we actually just finished filming. So yeah, let us know in the comments your sleepers and head scratchers. So if you've been watching the Comic Room Pod, first of all, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If you've liked that content and you've wanted more, then you're in luck, because some of the exclusive content that we've saved for Patreon, we're now bringing to YouTube. So all you got to do is hit that join button down below. It costs a few dollars a month to join, and when you join, you will get exclusive access to those extended episodes. So if that's something that you're interested in, it's a great way to support what we do and to get a little bit more extra content. There's also a Discord server that I've launched. If you're not familiar with what Discord is essentially just a big chat room to hang out and build a community around. I would love to engage with the community a little bit more, so I launched this Discord server in hopes that we can do that, and maybe even you guys can meet one another and also gain some new friends. So link to that is down below if that's something that you're interested in. If you do become a member, you'll also gain access to some locked channels that are member only channels. Anyways, again, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like it, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, share it with a friend if you have a friend who you think might enjoy this, and let me know down below any books that you think are a sleeper or a head scratcher. Enjoy the video. Now we're gonna get into how many times am I gonna say in the last
sleepers
seconds.
And head scratchers.
Sleepers and head scratchers. So I went first. So
yeah, I'll do my head scratcher first.
Yeah.
And I don't own this book because if I did, it almost goes against my belief that it's a head scratcher, unless I were to get a really good deal on it, which I have never seen. But my head scratcher for this episode is Captain America issue 100,
which I will put right here.
Captain America issue 100. I'm not saying it's not a nice book to own, and if you own it, I'm sure you're really proud of it. I'm saying it's a head scratcher because I think it's not a good value at the price point where it is right now. I think it's perplexing to me, honestly. Yeah. There's a few reasons. First one, let me just talk economics, pure economics, before we get into anything that's more subjective. There's one for sale right now on Instagram at a 9.2 for $1,500, a little bit more than $1,500. So maybe you can get it for $1,350 or $14 in an offer, perhaps. For that much money, if it's a key Captain America issue you're looking for, you can get a mid to low mid grade Avengers 4, which is a much better book. Unless you're, if you're a near mint guy or gal and that's your thing, then I guess maybe that's a different story. But if it's more that you want a key Captain America book, that's a better place to get your investment bang for your buck. Also, I think Tales of Suspense 59, which is the first solo story for Captain America. It's where Tales of Suspense splinters. You have two. It splits. Half the book is an Iron Man story, and half the book is a Captain America story. That's his first solo story. It's predates Cap 100 by, I think, 5 years or so, and that's a quarter of the price, maybe half. I would get that book instead. So I think that's a better investment. Now here's the other thing. So that's just the economics of it all. Now, what I'm about to say now, full disclosure, people are going to just disagree with me because it's an opinion, okay? But I'm in front of the mic. I'm going to give my opinion on this one, and I'll take the heat. But I just don't like the cover. I understand a lot of people like the cover. It looks to me like a cheap imitation of Avengers 4. It's, I'm looking at your carpet. You've got the carpet in here. There's all these different covers, and there's a Captain America, the issue where he's busting out of the newspaper, and it's his origin issue, or it's in the first year or a year and a half of the from issue 100, and that actually is the almost identical pose of the Captain America in issue 100. To Captain America's right is Black Panther, and he just looks like he's got a back problem, I understand what they're trying to do. It's supposed to look dynamic with all these characters that you kind of associate with the Avengers kind of behind Cap, and they're all running forward. But I want you to compare Captain America 100, the cover of Cap 100, to the cover of Avengers 4. You can see what they were going for with Captain America 100, but you can see how far it falls. Like there isn't any energy on that cover. It just looks like a failed attempted energy. Whether or not that means it's a good value or not is also up for debate. But how I feel about that. I think a good cover adds to the value, and a bad cover detracts.
Sure.
And I just don't like the cover. So I would frankly rather have Tales of Suspense 99, which is a cool cover of Iron Man kind of. It's a bondage Iron Man cover, but it's the last run in the Tales of Suspense run, and or honestly, if it's a Cap cover, and maybe we can put this one up on the screen too. Tales of Suspense 98 is a gorgeous cover where Captain America is battling Black Panther on the cover. It's an iconic cover, and you can get that for way cheaper than you can get Captain America 100. What is it about Captain America 100? It's not a first appearance. It's not a first Silver Age appearance. It's not an issue 1. It's not the first time he's got his own title. That was Tales of Suspense 59. So what exactly are we talking about here? Why should it cost that much more than Tales of Suspense 99 or that much more than Captain America 101? To me, it's just another Captain America book. A good book, but not worth what the price is.
Is it just notable because it's an iconic cover?
It's notable because it's the start of the Captain America run.
Oh, it's like issue number 1 in the Silver Age, essentially.
Yeah. And it for the longest time, it really wasn't differentiated at all. I think it was, Tales of Suspense 99 was $20 and Captain America 100 was $25. But somewhere in the late 80s, early 90s, it took off and jumped up to like $100 or $150. And now it's a lot more than that. I'm not saying it's a bad book. Okay. It's 1968 Silver Age Captain America. It is the start of his solo title. There's a lot going for it. And to some, it's an iconic, amazing cover. There's a lot going for it. But for that price, at that price point, there's better Captain America books to get. So I just think it's overpriced. Hence a head scratcher. Don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not like a big Cap collector, so I guess I don't agree with you, but I also don't disagree with you. I'm just kind of like, it's a book that'll probably never be on my radar, so I don't think much about it. And I'm not going to be offended at like a egregiously high price or an egregiously low price either. Yeah. Like,
look, if somebody walked in through this door right now and said, "Hey, Bob, late birthday present. Here's a Captain America issue 100." I would be grateful. I'd love to add that book to my collection. I think it's great. I wouldn't spend $1,500.
Yeah.
Or whatever the price it happens to be on it.
It's like me last week with the Silver Surfer 4.
Yeah, exactly.
I understand it. I don't think it should be valued at what it's valued at.
Yeah, if somebody gave me $1,500 and said you got to buy a Captain America book, doesn't matter what it is. There's probably a dozen Captain America. That's overstating. It's probably 7 to 10 Cap books for that price point that I would rather own.
Yeah.
Starting at whatever Golden Age book I could possibly get for $1,500, probably not much, you know, and pretty beat, but I would still rather have that.
Yeah.
And then some of the other ones I've mentioned.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right.
So sorry if I ruffled anybody's feathers. Yeah.
All right. That's our head scratcher.
Yes.
And The Sleeper is a book that I own. And I'm not going to lie. Yeah, you can take that off. In the middle of doing research, I changed my sleeper only because I discovered a more sleeper in this same realm that I'm talking about. But I'm going to keep it as this, and I'm going to say it's both of these books. I think both these books are worth getting. Mm-hmm. But because I own this book, this will be the main one.
Okay.
So this is Fantastic Four. Annual 1. This is my sleeper. This is my copy. It's graded a 5.0. Honestly, pretty generous. The back cover is kind of beat. Got some tape. Tape on the front too, that you can see, but not as bad as the back.
Nice color though. Beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful
presents
color.
so nice.
Yeah, it presents really, really great.
Great book.
And I'm not gonna lie. Last night
No, lie to him.
Last night I did about 45 minutes worth of data research
Nice.
to explain why I think that this book is worth buying. So one of the things noted, or all the things noted, are early Spider-Man appearance, origin of Subby, 15 pinups, first appearance of Lady Dorma and Krang. Lady Dorma and Krang, who cares, really? I don't even know who those people are. I don't know much about Submariner, Namor, Mythos. Pinups are cool. I have the book slab. Doesn't matter to me. So Submariner origin, pretty cool. Not enough to like dish out hundreds or thousands for. But early Spider-Man appearance. That's interesting that that's a note. Early. It's not second. It's not third. Not even fourth. It's the 6th.
Wow. That's super early.
So here I researched his first 6 appearances.
Okay. Yeah, what are they? Well, we know the first one.
So here's the research that I did.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to give you the issue,
Okay.
the key of that issue, the CGC census, and the grade that is the last grade that's within the top 10%
Okay.
of it being graded. So it's not all going to be the same. It's like some of them are going to be like 9%, some are going to be 8%. But this is like the last grade that you can get that keeps you within the top 10%.
Okay.
So I figured
That's a cool way to do it.
I figured not everybody can you know be in the top 5%. That's pretty expensive. But if you're a serious collector and you're seriously trying to get into early Spider-Man appearances, and you're not like a low grade, like, and it's something that you care about, I assume you probably want to be in the top 10%.
10% of the grade.
Because investment wise, that's where the prices really start to tilt. And you start paying. You can get,
And you can find that on what's the site that you can find the percentages? It just went out of my head.
I use Go
Collect. Right,
Yeah.
that's it.
So
Collect. Very
let
helpful.
me get some water here because
Yeah.
I'm about to
You're going to spit some fire on us here a second. Do you think you have enough water in that, by the way?
I don't think I do. No, I might need more.
It's a bucket with a straw. I love it.
I don't. So you could argue whether or not this is his 6th or 7th appearance for Fantastic Four Annual 1. 2 books came out on the same day, and I would just lump those in as the same appearance because how do you
So it'd be,
how do you say which is one or the other?
so they say 2's the 5th and then this one's the 7th.
Yeah, you could say that.
Interesting. Okay.
But it just, I mean, if it comes out on the same day, whatever. I'm just calling them those both the 6th appearance.
Okay.
So, Amazing Fantasy 15, first appearance of Spider-Man, iconic book. CGC census count 3,935. More than I thought, honestly.
Yeah, me too.
3,935. Okay. 6.5 grade is in the top 9.4%. So 6.0 is breaking 10%. So 6.5 is top 9.4%. Last sold 6.5, 114,000 in June of this year.
Okay.
114,000 June 2024 for a 6.5 AF15. Honestly, not bad.
No, not bad at all.
Not bad at all. Like,
no, suddenly becomes, well, not, I forget what I was about to say because no, it doesn't become anything of the sort, but accessible, but it's at least
truly
cheaper
not
than I
bad.
expected. Yeah.
All right. Next book, Amazing Spider-Man 1. Your head scratcher from a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
Second appearance of Spidey. First appearance of J. Jonah Jameson. And the first appearance of Chameleon, who we see in the Kraven trailer, who I think is one of Spider-Man's cooler villains. not been explored as much just in general.
Room to grow.
And it's the first Fantastic Four crossover. Topic for another day.
Yeah.
I think first crossovers are important. We live in the media age,
True.
Marvel media age of variants and the leaps and crossing overs and cameo appearances.
Yeah. Crossovers, first battles.
Yep. And so I think it'll
Team
be, you know, just as more people buy things and as more people get tired of like certain things, more things are going to have to pop back up. More things are going to have to come back around. I think first crossover is a good
That'd be a
thing
fun episode. We got to do that one.
So anyway, so ASM 1, second appearance of Spidey, first J. Jonah Jameson, first Chameleon, first FF crossover. Census count, 4,942.
Okay.
A 7.0 puts you in the top 8.4%. Last sold 18,000 in July of 2024. Second last sold, I thought this was worth noting, was a white pager. 26.4 thousand in June of 2024. So almost a $10,000 difference for white pages.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, yeah, if you're looking for a way to distinguish yourself.
Yeah. So that's his Spidey second appearance.
Okay. So between 24 and 16 and 24,000.
18 and 26,000.
18, 26,000, and the other one was 114,000. Okay.
Okay. Amazing Spider-Man 2, third appearance. First appearance of Vulture and first appearance of Tinkerer. 2,984 on the census. CGC 7.5 puts you in the top 8.4%. I will have to make a note here. The last two sold, as far as what's recorded on Go Collect, were best offers. And best offers, you don't know the price. So the last two prior sold to that is 5.4 thousand on a 7.5 on what is that, August of 2023, and then a white page, so that's 5.4, and then a month before that in July, a white pager sold for 8.9 thousand, so $3,000 difference. So right now we're at 114,000, 18,000, and 5.4 thousand.
Okay.
Amazing Spider-Man 3. Going to see a little bit of a bump in this one because it's the first Doc Ock. Doc Ock is his most notable, aside from Green Goblin, his most notable villain. Probably has been explored the most in the movies so far. 3,272 graded. Surprisingly, an 8.0 puts you in the top 8.5%.
Wow.
8, which I felt like was lower than what would have been. But it was another surprising census count to me. A little higher than I thought.
Yeah.
Last sold was actually Christmas Day of 2023.
Merry Christmas.
Somebody bought themselves ASM 3 and an 8.0 for $8,800.
Okay. So bumps up, like you said.
Okay, now this is where...
so those are the first four.
First four. So now this is the 2 5s, 5 and 6.
Okay.
However you want to view it, I'm going to... Because these release on the same day, my perception of it, I'm going to see these both as the fifth appearance.
Okay.
So Amazing Spider-Man 4. First appearance of Sandman and Betty Brant. 3,344 on the census. Please remember that, okay? ASM 4, first Sandman, 3,344. This came out June 11th of 1963. 7.5. This is the top 9.8%. So this actually could get pushed out of the top 10%, and it could go to an 8.0. So 7.5, top 9.8%. Last sold $4,000 on June of this year. 2024, if anybody's listening to this in the future. Okay. ASM 4, 3,344 on the census, 7.5, top 9.8%, 4,000 sold for $4,000 in June.
Okay.
Here's where it gets really interesting. These next two appearances, okay? Strange Tales Annual number 2. Tied for the fifth appearance.
Okay.
First Spider-Man crossover.
Yeah.
Okay, into another title. 881 on the census.
Where are they? What happened to the rest? What?
AF15, 3,935. ASM1, 4,942. ASM2, 2,984. ASM3, 3,272. ASM4, 3,344. Strange Tales Annual 2, 881.
Do you think that's because they haven't been graded, or do you think they just don't exist?
I think an annual is naturally going to be a little bit less printed.
A lot less printed.
But there's a lot of raws on eBay right now. I looked it up.
Okay.
There's a good amount of raws. So this is why they're called sleepers, because I think people are sleeping on them. They don't think that they're worth grading. They don't think they're not. It's not a top 5.
But it's the first crossover, and it's just tied for his 5th appearance. Okay, how much?
8.5 is in the top 8.4%. So even out of all the graded, it's an 8.5.
8.5 is crispy.
Yeah.
That's clean.
With that many, with only 881 graded, I was fully expecting top 10% to be like 6.5, 7.0, like some of the other ones. Nope.
So people only
8.5.
Wow. So people are only grading really clean copies because they don't. Yeah, it's not worth it as much. It's not worth it to grade a 2.0 copy.
Yeah. Cheapest book we've seen so far. 8.5 and cheapest book and highest graded we've seen so far.
Yeah.
Okay. Because the other ones, in order of starting from AF15, 6.5, 7.0, 7.5, 8.0, 7.5, and this is 8.5. So this is the lowest census count, the highest graded, and the cheapest price that we've seen.
How much is it?
3.1 thousand sold in May of 2023.
$3,100 for an 8.5.
For an 8.5.
Tied 5th appearance of Spider-Man, first crossover. I'm surprised that's not your sleeper. I can't wait to hear about this one.
I mean, when I was doing research, I was like, okay, this is actually the true sleeper of this list. But I chose this book.
Yeah.
And this is, I mean, honestly, it's just as good.
But did you say it's an annual 2?
Annual 2.
That's so random. So that's wild.
Yeah.
Annual 2 when Fantastic Four was only an annual 1.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Strange Tales Annual 2. Have you bought one yet?
I threw an offer on eBay for a 4.0.
Yeah.
And I fumbled myself into it. And so then I convinced myself out of it, and then I retracted my offer. Because I was like, what am I doing? I can't. I mean, I should, and I will. And honestly, when AtCon comes around, I'm going to keep my eye out, because I haven't seen this book that often in claim sales.
Well, there aren't that many. They're only 800 graded, dude.
But I'm going to be keeping my eye out.
Will you look for a raw?
If it's a,
but it's going to have to. Boy, that'd be tough to find an 8.5 raw though.
So I'm also gonna note that Spider-Man on this cover doesn't have the Spider-Man emblem on his chest. It's just not there. So it's just like this weird naked suit. Like, it's the suit, but without the emblem, it feels naked.
Yeah.
It's really weird. I don't know if there was I tried to look up to see if it was a misprint or something. I couldn't find anything. So if you guys know, let me know. But yeah, it's...
So you can... Would you be willing to get one that's not 8.5? Like, would you buy a mid-grade one and feel good about that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the one I threw an offer on was 4.0. Like, I wouldn't be concerned about... For me, when it comes to buying books, it's about getting in at the... This is where, for me, it's buy what you love. It's about getting in on a book at a price that I think is fair for something that I think presents really, really well. Mm-hmm. So, like, I always use this as an example, but that Daredevil 2, it's a 3.5 with a spine split. If that spine split wasn't there, that thing's a 7.0.
And you can't see the spine split in the slab.
And I can't see the spine split in the slab, so really, I don't care.
We say that 10 times. Can't see the spine slip in a slab.
You didn't even say it right then.
I didn't do it. I didn't, did I? It's a good thing we're not talking about the Silver Surfer. It would really be a disaster.
But I do know if you're in the investment game, that 10%, that top 5% is important. And as far as the longevity of your money and putting in the book. So that's why for this purpose, I decided at 10%.
Yeah, I really like this. I'm gonna use that for my own thinking in the future. This whole 10, because I always wonder what's the good breaking point. But 10%. Okay, so what about this one then?
So,
which we both own, by the way.
I mean, honestly, I think if you go the difference in how many are graded is not that much. It's only it's less than 500. So there's 1,360 graded of FF Annual 1.
Okay.
And truly, I think if you go get Strange Tales Annual 2 or FF Annual 1 in any grade, I'm going to say any grade, it's a good buy.
Okay.
If you go in an investment grade, which I would categorize top 10%, even more so, top 5%, as you're putting even safer money into that, it's a good buy. So, FF Annual 1, Origin of Subby, First Appearance of Lady Dorma. I think the two more important things here is first year of FF and
it's Annual 1.
and early appearance of Spider-Man. I think those are the two great things. The cover is awesome. The blue, I love the blue on this cover. Like this like light blue. I think
it's beautiful. And it's a square bound like all the early annuals are. And so therefore tough too.
Yeah. And Spider-Man's on the cover and Doom is on the cover. You got Spider-Man down here in this corner. You got Doom here in this corner. It's a great book.
You can admit that your favorite part about it is the pinups, and you've already cracked it, and your pinups are in your closet.
And then I put it back together.
You've got the pinups in a binder under your bed.
Okay, so 1,360 on the census.
Okay.
Top 8.4%. 9-0.
What?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? That's so disappointing because I have an 8.0 coffee.
You want to guess the price?
For a 9.0?
Last sold March 2024.
In a 9.0, I'm going to say like 2,500.
Close. 2,031.
Okay. So not bad.
Pretty
that's cheap. I was thinking I was underbidding it by a significant amount. That's cheap.
Yeah.
The only reason I was able to get me even close is because I keep an eye on what the 8.0 is worth because I have an 8.0.
Yeah.
That's too cheap.
Mind you, when we say cheap, obviously I've spent over I paid $2,500 for this book raw, and then First Appearance of Punisher, I bought this as a 6.0 for $1,050.
Yeah.
I haven't really spent over $1,000.
No.
I mean, I bought two of those Batman books, but even then, those were not $1,000 each.
Right.
I genuinely think these were the only books I spent over $1,000 on.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I'm glad you clarified because
obviously we don't think that
it's relative. I don't mean cheap for me. Like it's just cheap as in like less expensive than I expected.
Right. Less expensive than expected. And honestly, when you think about it, just like in terms of the amount of money that you spend in total on comics, like you just take that value, whatever you think it is, the sum, and then you look at investment grade level, like serious investment level grade books, and you think a 9.0 for first year of FF and early Spider-Man appearance,
that's crazy.
You think, man, that's probably got to go for like a few thousand. Only $2,000.
Yeah, 2,000 is a lot less than I thought. I mean, I a lot less than I would have thought if I didn't know the book a little bit,
right?
Too, but I still thought it was going to be more. Wow.
And I think especially, and saying it's cheap is also tied to that grade, because if it's 2,000 for a 5.0, that's obviously not cheap. Like in that sense, it's expensive. But for a high grade 9.0 to be worth 2,000, like that's impressive.
Yeah, that's impressive. And so that's 2,000. And how much was the Strange Tales again?
3.1, and last sold in 2023. So that we're still coming out of the bubble in 2023. So
this one makes sense that is your sleeper over the Strange Tales because it's $1,100 less.
Yeah, and a higher grade.
And how many months difference between them?
1 month, not even a month. Yeah,
yeah. And this is an FF1 Annual 1. I would rather have this than the Strange Tales Annual 2.
Yeah, I mean the only reason would be the Strange Tales also has like the funky different colors for the Fantastic Four, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But then you're also talking about Spider-Man is prominent on the cover, and he doesn't have the spider on his chest, which I think is just like a cool, like random.
Yeah, it is.
thing.
That's interesting. Yeah, probably the only time ever.
Yeah, I think that they're both cool buys or good buys, honestly. Like, I don't think.
I mean, just think about it for a second. Spider-Man was so new that the artist, whoever it was, who drew him on Strange Tales Annual 2 didn't know that the spider on the chest was part of the costume, and nobody who looked at it after knew it either. That's how new. It's hard to imagine a world where that's not, that Spider-Man costume isn't, and the spider on the chest aren't synonymous.
Yeah.
That's, oh man. But okay, so
I think I know the argument you make is, well, who cares about the 6th appearance of Spider-Man? My counter to that is, this is the most, like, second to Superman, maybe Batman. I think in a lot of ways, as far as like cultural impact, I think he probably beats Batman. You're talking about for argument's sake, a top 3 superhero that has broken the barrier of comics and has broken into pop culture. That is a household name. Yeah. You say Spider-Man in any house, people are going to know what you're talking about. The movies have made him wildly popular. The art of Todd McFarlane has made the character beloved, and like the
cartoons from the 60s and 70s, the movies, obviously.
The physics of Spider-Man has just made it like, whoa, he's so cool the way he flies. And
every Halloween there will be at least 1 million children, dressed up as Spider-Man, no matter what.
And so because of that, 114,000, 18,000, 5,000, 8,000 for his first 4 appearances. Like, it's unaffordable, really. Like, you really have to be. Yeah, in this economy, you gotta have.
The ship has sailed on these books.
So at that point, the layperson like us is like, well, let me just get in on an early appearance. Like, I'll take any early appearance, really.
What to you constitutes an early appearance? Is it first 10 appearances? Is it the first year? What do you think?
So these are all within the first year. So there was a gap, actually, I didn't know about, Amazing Fantasy 15, and there was a few months where nothing happened.
I think it was like 6 months between Amazing Fantasy 15 and Spider-Man 1.
Yeah, and then these came out. So for me, I think first year is big. That's why when I collected Daredevil, I didn't go for 12. I just wanted the top 10 because I think that sounded cool.
Absolutely.
You can buy 11 and 12, Daredevil 11 and 12 for pennies on the dollar. Yeah. Like, it's...
That's actually a question in my graphic novel class is how many months between AF 15 and Spider-Man 1.
Oh, really?
That's how I know it's 6, because I know the answer. So if any of my future students are watching this, there you go. You have just been given a test answer.
So I mean, first year I think is important. I think when you get past a year, that's when keys become more sporadic, just in general. Like, it's not as consistent because they're not laying down the groundwork anymore for they're still building this character's world, obviously, but at this point, at past a year, it's less so introducing characters and more so expositing the world that this character is now in.
The first 10 issues of Spider-Man, like the first 10 issues of FF, there's always a first appearance. Yeah, the villain is the first time the villains appeared. Which is pretty cool. But then they start expanding on the storylines of these characters. And I like the idea of like getting as many first year appearances of key characters that you can afford. That would be a cool way to collect.
And that's the other thing too, is like, even to get in on a low grade, like, you can't get into a low grade ASM 1. You can't get into a low grade ASM 2. You can't get into a low grade ASM 3. Like,
you're paying a lot of money to get a beat up book, and that's tough.
Right. So it's like, it's really at ASM 4 is really where you start to be like, okay, like, I can now start to dabble into like.
And what you just said is the reason why it's so hard to get like ASM 3, 2, or Fantastic 4, 5, 6, because it may be the 6th or 4th or whatever of that title, but it's got a first appearance of some villain.
Yeah.
Like, there's no, you're stuck.
Same with the Daredevil. The Daredevil is like issue 1, first appearance, issue 2, second appearance of Elektra and Daredevil, issue 3, first Owl, issue 4, first Purple Man, Killraven, issue 5, first Matador, issue 6, first Mr. Fear, issue 7, first Red Suit, issue 8, first Stiltman.
Stiltman, my favorite. I love that character.
9 and 10, or 10 is like, 9 is Gene Colan.
And 10 is Wood.
9 is Wally Wood.
Wally Wood, yeah.
And first Wally Wood on
And I think
Daredevil, I think.
Yeah, I think the owl isn't the owl in that one too. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, it doesn't
And then issue 10 is like first Catman, Omni. It's like weird.
Yeah,
They're on the cover. You can see them on the cover.
Yeah, there's
It's
something
like weird.
These little small things. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is a what makes these two books that you have is, you know, this one and also the Strange Tales annual too, is okay. First appearance of Lady Dorma, like you said, who really cares? It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
So you get to have a sixth appearance of Spider-Man free of any like significant first appearance, so you can actually acquire that property, you know, at a grade that's comfortable for you. That's certainly relatively so reasonable, like cheaper than you might expect. Man, that's interesting. Now you got me thinking. I want to go and explore, do this data search for all the major Silver Age key appearances or Silver Age characters from Marvel, because you know there's easily 6 or 7. I mean, you say 6 appearance, nobody cares. I have the 6th appearance of Giant Man in Astonishing Tales or Tales to Astonish, and I'm excited about that. I found it at a thrift store for like 15, 20 bucks, and you know, not in great shape, but I'm like, no, but it's the 6th appearance of Giant Man. Like, there's no way I should have found this for $5 or $10. 6th appearance of Giant Man. We're talking 6th appearance of the web. What's he called? The webbed. There's a name anyway. It's Spider-Man. Yeah, the webhead, the webbed Avengers. There's some kind of there's so many names, but the Amazing Spider-Man. Come on.
Yeah, and look, I mean the argument for it. Something that I've noticed that we actually could talk about is a lot of people in our comments don't like CGC. They choose not to slap their books.
Yeah.
Totally valid opinion. For me, it's about longevity of the book, and if it's a book that I know that I'm going to keep for a long time, or a book that I know I can sell if I get it graded at a higher price, that's the only reason I slap. I'm not going to slap like other random stuff.
Right. Same.
But right here, CGC notes early Spider-Man appearance, and it's the first thing that CGC notes on an FF title, and Spider-Man's not even like. Look, I have
he's below the fold, as they say.
Yeah, he's being hidden by this holder. Like, so it's significant. I think it's significant, and it's my sleeper. I did a lot of work for this. Sleeper,
yeah, you did, and you know what? It's what you've done is you've taken a book that I believe was my very first show and tell, and if you look at my Instagram, that is my image from my Mr. Longbox Instagram. I love this book that much in my collection. I've had it since I was young. I know that I'm never gonna sell it, but you just made me love it more.
Yeah,
which I didn't think was possible. You made me that much happier to own it. Like, it now means even more to me than it did for the things that you've shared. So thanks for that. But that's really cool. Like I said, now I got to go check I got to go look and see other stuff now.
So I think I'm going to keep doing research like this for like my future Scratch Sleepers, because I think it adds an interesting dynamic. It's just going to be a matter of like, I'm not going to do as much. Like I brought all 6, 7 appearances.
You brought the heat.
In the future, I'll just use a couple examples for prices, but I think it'll be good.
Yeah, that's something that schematic you used is actually really good.
Yeah,
I'm gonna use that top 10% as a good way of comparing, because otherwise it's hard to know.
Yeah, it's like, what do you know?
You can compare grades, but grades, while the grades are static, what they represent within the title
totally different.
Are totally different.
Yeah.
And numbers and CGC count don't, just raw count aren't what matters. It's percentage. Like, well, this is the breaking point. I just think that's, you got to pick a line somewhere. It's a great line to pick.
Yeah. So I think you do just inside the 10% or just outside the 10%. But I think 10% is a good line in general. For investment grade. Yeah. You call it. If it's for your own PC and your own happiness, whatever grade you want, right? Like I try to get like right around less than 50% if I can for any CGC graded book that I buy. But again, that line moves. So and I think investment 10% is probably a good line to start. But I think really, like, for the safest money, 5%. 3% is like you're talking like you own, like you're setting the market at those points.
Which is kind of disturbing when you're buying modern books because you get a 9.8 and it's 36%.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But that doesn't mean what you think it means. It just means that people who have a book that is clearly like in an 8 range or been beat up, they're not going to get it graded. Why would you do it?
I just remembered this. Okay, so last week we were talking about covers, right?
Yeah.
And we talked about Miles Morales 8. I was going to buy a giveaway book for the channel again because I was just scrolling eBay. And then I don't know how this ended up on my feed, okay? It was a 3.5 CGC Miles Morales 8.
What?
3.5.
Who?
The spine
Why?
was beat. And there was library stickers on the book.
How much did they want for it?
It was at a bidding, and he started the bidding at 19. I literally offered him 15 for it. I was like, "This is about what it's worth." Like genuine. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry
even
you
though
paid.
the slab cost
I don't know
you-
why you slabbed this, but this is hilarious to me.
Yeah.
So I offered him 15, and then he countered with like 45, and I was like, "Okay, logically,
Yeah.
I can go buy like a raw 9.8 for 45."
Yeah. So
I can't.
he's not really interested in selling it. He doesn't really know.
No.
It would almost be fun to have because that's a true one of a kind. Like you're not going to see that ever again.
Yeah, no.
you
was
could
just,
make it for yourself, but why?
yeah, the library had taped over the bar, and then they had they put like a white label over the barcode, and then they put another sticker like property of whatever library. And it was like there was like discoloring on the spine too.
And yet I'm surprised it came back as high as it did, honestly, for what you just described.
3.5, yeah. I was like, okay, if he will give this to me for 15, I'm gonna give it away. Like,
Yeah.
because I think it's hilarious.
It would have been funny.
And yeah, but no,
Almost
he wanted 45 for it. So I was like, nah.
No, my man, you're
Yeah.
not going to get 45 for
No.
it on any planet.
I'm sorry that's what you paid to slab it. I'm not.
Yeah.
It's not what it's worth. So
It's A for effort. You can't blame him for trying.
yeah. So
This is really informative for me. I like when you have the sleepers because it's a lot more work to do the sleeper than a head scratcher,
Yeah.
I think. Because you don't want to bring that value to people who are watching. And you put a lot of work in. And I got back and benefit from it. And not even paying for the Patreon. So
So yeah, that's our head scratcher and sleeper.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm probably just gonna cut that whole segment out, and I'll post the whole segment on this book, and I'll post it as like a
do it as
hey, this is what we do.
heck yeah, that was great.
Patreon. So
For sure.
yeah, yeah. Thanks for watching.
Yeah. Thanks for being our Patreon.
Yeah.
I noticed I said singular. Maybe optimistic. Thanks for being our Patreons.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks so much for watching.
Yeah.
We'll be back next week, and he'll be back with the sleeper,
Yeah, my turn.
and I'll have a head scratcher,
Yes.
and yeah, it'll be a good time.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging for the first 2 months.
Yeah.
This is our 2 months
celebration,
right?
Yeah. Been a good time.
It's been fun.
Now
Keep
you're
going.
back to school.
Not going to change anything. I might have heavier bags under my eyes, but I'll still be here. No, it won't be that. It'll be I'll have a big thing of coffee in my hand.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
I'll be here. Wouldn't miss it.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys.
See
Appreciate
ya.
it. As always, we'll see you guys.